So today's video is a special one as I am reviewing the new fictional Bentley that is coming to the game in the next Greenville update. Now here I am only actually reviewing 4 out of like the 13 plus trims or whatever it is, and the reason for that is because these are the only trims that actually have any performance differences, and all the extra trims are pretty much just identical to these ones. Obviously though, it is entirely possible for the performance on this vehicle to change for these specific trims before the update comes out, but even if they do, they should stay relatively the same as what they are now. But anyways, before we do get into today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe as we are on the road to 25.7k subscribers, so it would be greatly appreciated as always. And for those of you guys who would like to join my Discord server, make sure to do that in the description below to stay up to date with all of my future content and all of Greenville and Southwest Florida's update information. But without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. So the fictional name of this vehicle is the 2022 Bentley SPUR, and with the first trim here we have the hybrid V6, which has a miles per gallon of 46. The price is $215,000 and the game pass is luxury. So let's get into this thing right here and give it a quick little test drive. But first of all, let's actually start with the startup. So it does have an interesting chime sound when you get into the vehicle, and for some reason it doesn't really seem to have much of a startup sound at the moment. It is weird though, because the rest of the sounds do work, as you guys can hear, so I don't know if that's intentional or what, but yeah. Actually, hold on, there's the startup sound. It just started playing, so yeah, that is a very good startup sound actually. Very sporty, as you guys can tell. Seems to keep starting up on itself, which is interesting. That's probably just a bug though, obviously, since this thing is unreleased. Now, as for the lighting, obviously it is very detailed as always, and also the blinkers do have a little animation at the front here, which is awesome. And as for the rear end, they also have that same animation, which is so cool. I love blinkers with animations personally. And then the brake lights here are also pretty good. And as for the horn, it sounds like this. So pretty standard Greenville horn sound, to be honest. Now it is time to give this thing a little test drive here. So let's pull out and just go for a little spin real quick around this area. But yeah, so far seems pretty good to drive. It's not like the fastest vehicle, at least a specific trim. Obviously this is only a V6 and it is a hybrid, of course, as I did state earlier. But this thing is obviously a luxury vehicle, so it's not going to have that really sporty performance. So overall this is a pretty chill trim, but I feel like most people probably won't go for this simply just because of its lack of performance. Anyways though, let's line it up here so then we can do the 0 to 60 test, which I will do in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so decent 0 to 60 so far here, and we are finally at 0 to 60. So honestly, that was kind of a long time, but once again, for a luxury vehicle, honestly not that bad whatsoever. It could have been a lot worse. In fact, I wouldn't even really call it bad per se. It's just not really that fast, but it's not that slow either at the same time. So, and then I'm going to try to push this thing up to top speed here. It does climb relatively slow, honestly, but it does reach a top speed of around 177 miles per hour, which I've got to say I'm actually extremely surprised for. Like, that is extraordinarily fast, especially for a vehicle like this. So, but obviously a lot of people won't really care about the top speed if it takes ages for it to get there, so you know. Next up here with the red trim, we have the V8 Performance, which has a miles per gallon of 17. The price is $235,000 and the pass is Sport. So yes, this thing does actually have a different pass to it. And anyways, let's get into the startup test. So actually a lighter startup it seems like than the hybrid trim, in my opinion at least, but overall pretty good. Visually this thing does actually have a lip at the back as well, which is nice. Obviously it is supposed to be a bit sportier since it is a V8 sport trim. And then as for the lighting here, it seems to be literally identical to the other trim, and the horn also is the same. So yeah, all pretty good. But anyways, let's get onto a little driving test right here. So I can definitely like immediately tell that this thing does seem to have higher performance than the last trim that I reviewed. Speed definitely seems to go up a bit higher here, which is pretty awesome to see. And obviously this trim, yeah, does look a lot sportier, but it still manages to be sleek at the same time, because obviously even though this is with the sports game pass, it is still a luxury vehicle at its core, so obviously it is going to follow that criteria as well. I did actually pop a tire, so I'm going to go have to grab another one, which is a bit annoying, but anyways, well, we got a replacement right here, looking fresh. But yeah, super awesome car, can't lie. This is honestly ideal for people who, you know, want a car that is sporty but is also luxury at the same time, because, you know, that is essentially what this car is supposed to be. Anyways though, moving on to the 0 to 60 test here in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, pretty good launch right there, and it seems like we are already at 60 miles per hour, and that was definitely much quicker than the last trim, I would say, at least just basing off what I saw right there. Right, and now let's get this thing up to the top speed here. It does seem like it's going to go quite a lot faster than the last trim that I reviewed, which is definitely good to see. It also seems like it climbs speed a lot quicker as well, which is definitely a really good thing here. I'm very interested to see how fast this thing actually goes though, or what the top speed on this actually is. And we're already in the 180s, and it seems like we reach around 190 198 miles per hour. Okay, that's actually way higher than I expected. So yeah, that is pretty significantly higher than the V6 trim, which is super awesome since obviously, you know, when you're paying that extra few $1,000s, you do want to see a bit more out of it. Now we are moving on to this trim, which does have a two-tone paint job, which is pretty cool to see. And this is the W12 Windsor Midnight trim, which has a miles per gallon of 15. The price is $295,000 and the part is luxury. So once again, we have another luxury pass version of this vehicle. So let's test out the startup here. And that actually seems way more aggressive than the sports trim for some reason. I'm guessing that will be updated when it comes out. And I forgot to show on recording, I did do a rev test on the other vehicles already. I believe they are all the same. Let's just do it on this one so you guys can see anyways. And yeah, a pretty tame rev, obviously, being a luxury vehicle. And then as for the horn, it sounds like this. So the same once again. And the lighting is also completely identical to every single other trim as well, which I think we all saw coming there. Anyways, moving on to the driving test. Obviously, this thing is quite a lot more expensive than the other two trims that I have already reviewed. And I really do dig this two-tone paint. Definitely gives off more of like a Rolls-Royce vibe, I'd say. This trim also seems to be extremely fast, possibly even faster than the V8 trim, despite it being underneath the luxury game pass, which is very interesting in my opinion, but seems very, very good. So I'm actually curious to test out the 0 to 60 on this thing. So in 3, 2, 1, go. And okay, yeah, that was definitely much better than the sports trim, and we are already at 60 miles per hour. I can't tell which one was faster for that, to be honest. I guess I'll have to see in the editing process, but still very fast no matter what. And then pushing this thing up to top speed here, it looks like we could possibly even hit 200 miles per hour, so very curious to see what the results of that is going to be. And we have already passed the speed of the last trim, and we have reached 206 miles per hour at the top speed. It is very good in my opinion how all of these trims do have, you know, progressively better performance. There's definitely been vehicles that I've reviewed in the past where price to performance has been pretty negligible, but this time around it's actually pretty, you know, reasonable, I'd say. And now for the last trim, which is called the Special 12 EU, which has a miles per gallon of 15, a price of $285,000, and it is in the sports game pass. So this does actually cost slightly less than the last trim that I reviewed, which is good. But anyways, let's do a quick startup test on this. So very good. Then the rev test once again, pretty standard, exactly the same as the last trim. And the horn test, exactly the same once again. And yeah, also for lighting, it is pretty much identical at the front as well. So yeah, overall pretty consistent design on all of these trims apart from a small amount of minor differences. But yeah, for the most part it is kept the same, which is good. And I'm actually very interested to test the performance on this thing out, since obviously it is around $10,000 cheaper than the W12 trim that I just reviewed. But yeah, the overall just regular driving experience on this thing does seem to be pretty similar. So I guess the real test are going to be in the 0 to 60 and the top speeds. So let's just get straight into that, to be completely honest, without wasting any time here. Alright, so in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, good launch right there, and it seems like we are at 60 miles per hour already, which is really good actually. I can't tell once again if that's faster than the last trim. I feel like it might be around the same though, to be completely honest. And then I'm just going to push this thing straight up to top speed here. It looks like it might reach 200 miles per hour once again, which is definitely really good to see. I think it climbs like slightly slower than the last trim, but yeah, 206 miles per hour again for the top speed there. That could definitely just be me tripping, but yeah, I do feel like it climbs ever so slightly slower, which would be understandable, I guess. But it's not really noticeable to the average person, at least I wouldn't say if that is the case. Anyways though, that is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys did all enjoy it. Once again, if you guys did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 25.7k subscribers, so it would be greatly appreciated as always. And for those of you guys who would like to join my Discord server, once again, that is in the description below for those of you guys who would like to stay up to date with all of my future content and all of Greenville and Southwest Florida's update information. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think about these vehicles in the comments below. I personally think that all of these trims are actually really good, and the price to performance is also pretty awesome as well, I'd say. And it is overall just good to see a new fictional Bentley coming to the game. Obviously, actually, this is our first fictional Bentley, but you guys know what I mean. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one.